Hello everyone, it's Chantel from Crochet and welcome to this tutorial where I will be showing you how to crochet an amigurumi bell. If you would like the PDF version of this pattern, please check out the description for more details. So the materials that you'll need include a 5mm crochet hook, some scissors, a darning needle, as well as a stitch marker, some super bulky yarn in brown, yellow, as well as red, and you will also need some polyfill stuffing. And please pause to read the terminology and abbreviations you will need to know for this tutorial. So to start, we are going to take our brown yarn and create a magic ring. I personally like to close off my magic rings before working single crochets into them, as I find this helps prevent the yarn from snapping. And then for row 1, we are just going to work 6 single crochets into the magic ring. So by the end of the row, you should have a total of 6 stitches. And then for row 2, we are just going to single crochet around. So that will be a total of 6 stitches by the end of the row. And then for the next 3 rows, rows 3 to 5, we are just going to single crochet around. And then on the end of row 5, we are just going to color change to yellow. And then getting started on row 6, we are going to work 6 increases around. So by the end of the row, you should have a total of 12 stitches. And then for row 7, we are just going to do 12 increases around. So by the end of the row, you should have a total of 24 stitches. And this is what your work should look like so far. And then getting started on row 8, we are going to single crochet around. So by the end of the row, you should have a total of 24 stitches. And then for the next 6 rows, rows 9 to 14, you are just going to single crochet around. So that is a total of 24 stitches per row. And this is what it should look like once you have completed that. And then we are going to get started on row 15, where we will be working in the front loop only. If you look at the top of the stitches, they should appear like V's, and you are going to go into the side of the V that is closest to you. And for this row, just doing 24 increases around, so by the end of the row, you should have a total of 48 stitches. Once again, all of these stitches should be worked in the front loop only, and please feel free to put stitch markers in the back loops only, as we are going to be working into that later on. And this is what your bell should look like so far. It might look a bit like a banana, but that's okay. And then to fasten off, we are just going to slip stitch into the next stitch and then cut a short tail. And now we're going to get started on the bottom of the bell. So taking your hook, you are going to go into the back loop only of row 15, attach your yellow yarn, and then you are going to work 12 decreases around in the back loop only. So by the end of the row, you should have a total of 12 stitches. And now we're going to take the time to quickly start stuffing the bell. A quick tip is to pull apart the stuffing before putting it into the plush piece, so then that way it doesn't clump and you don't get lumps in your finished work. Then getting started on the next row, which will be our last row of the bell, we are just going to work 6 decreases around, so by the end of the row you should have a total of 6 stitches. And then to finish off, just slip stitch into the next stitch and cut a short tail. Now we're just going to take our darning needle and we are going to sew the opening closed. So to do that, just put the yarn onto your needle and then weaving through the front loops only, the remaining 6 stitches, you are going to weave your yarn through. And then just pull tight on the yarn to close the opening, then tie a knot and weave in your ends. Be sure to weave in the end from the bell rim as well. And now we're going to get started on the bow. So taking your red yarn, you are going to chain 6. Then starting in the second chain from the hook, you are going to do 5 single crochets. And then you are going to chain 1. Then for the next 2 rows, you are going to do 5 single crochets in each row, chaining 1 before going to the next row and turning your work. And then after your last single crochet, you are just going to slip stitch into that same stitch and then cut a very long tail. Then taking your darning needle, you are going to weave the yarn tail through the back parts of the stitches on the last row. Then you're going to weave this through until you are at the center of the crochet piece. You are going to repeat this process with the initial yarn tail as well, just weaving through the back parts of the stitches to get to the center of the crochet piece. And then once you have finished that, you are going to take the long yarn tail and wrap it several times around the center of the crochet piece. This will give the look of a bow. I like to wrap it around 3 to 5 times. And then once you have finished that and you like the look of it, just tie a knot between the 2 yarn tails to secure. And then we're going to get started on sewing the bow to the bell. And this is what it should look like. And then you're just going to sew the bow onto the bell between rows 5 and 6, so where the 2 color changes meet. And this is what your finished bell should look like. If you have any questions regarding the pattern, please feel free to leave it in the comment section below. And just a reminder that there are details on where to get the PDF version in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing for more content such as this, and give this video a like. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.